Question 7. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learned in the progression from it to the full product? Before starting media A-level, I had little experience in producing films and using software such as Premiere Pro to edit the footage. Since then, I've learned to use new software such as After Effects to produce my film company logo. Despite this being a very difficult program to use, I eventually taught myself to create a basic yet professional looking logo. I feel I had very basic skills when producing my preliminary task and used it as an introduction and practice of using Premiere Pro. I quickly learned how to add background music to my film to complement the images on the screen and also how to fade shots to improve the flow of my film. Through producing my film opening, I developed these skills and have seen many more improvements from my preliminary task. For example, the sound levels in my preliminary task were not effective as the background music was very overpowering. This made it hard to hear the dialogue between the two characters as the music took away the focus from the events occurring in the film. I also found that some of the dialogue was slightly muffled and they did not use a microphone.
I've been waiting for ages. Where have you been?
I can't explain now.
I had a similar scene in my film opening where the two characters had an argument. I used the music keyframes to lower the sound at appropriate intervals to ensure the dialogue was clearly heard throughout the argument and I did not make the same mistake again. This was important as the argument was the cause of the later events, so it was essential for the audience to hear what was happening. To minimise the risk of muffled dialogue, I used a Rode microphone which picked up all sound clearly and ensured all dialogue was at the same sound level.
What do you mean? I thought you were going to keep quiet.
Are you being serious? Sophie has to know.
When looking back at my preliminary task, I also found that some of my shots were slightly out of focus. This is due to the lack of previous experience I had with making films, as I simply did not know how to focus the camera on a subject effectively. To reduce the effect of this when filming my final task, I turned off one-shot focus in order to ensure that the camera would not lose focus when the subject moved. This was especially useful when filming the chase sequence in the forest and some of the shots within the argument.
I'm not scared of you.
Where do you think you're going? Sarah, stop.
When comparing the two tasks, I noticed the importance of an interesting title in order to engage the audience from the outset. In my preliminary task, I created a very simple title using white font on a black background, which would have failed to interest the audience as it gives no insight into the genre of my film. I decided that for my film opening, I will colour the title in red as it hints to the audience the genre of my film. This is because the colour red has connotations of blood, danger and death, so potential themes are suggested to the audience. In doing this, the viewers will be informed of what to expect, so may be much more interested in continuing to watch my film. In my preliminary task, I found it easy to keep the camera in one spot to film my shots. I think using the tripod to maintain a steady hand and not having to pan the camera was a safe option to use for my first film. However, in my film opening, I decided to use a wider range of camera movements, for example, moving with my subject. When the villain of my film began to chase the victim, I moved the camera by following the actor closely behind. I feel that in doing this, I created a much more interesting shot which also matched the genre as it built tension. In my preliminary task, I did not have any credits apart from the names of my actors. This is because I simply did not know which credits were appropriate to add, and therefore I believe the film had a very unprofessional look. In my film opening, I researched the credits needed and was sure to add these in throughout the film, and not only in the initial shots, which I feel gave a much more professional finish to the film. Horror films often use low-key lighting in order to reflect the dark mood and reduce vision of any potential danger which creates suspense within the film. I planned to film in low-key lighting, however, as it was more convenient for my actors, we had to film in the daylight, which meant that I had high-key lighting throughout all of my scenes. Lighting is a key aspect of mise en scène which can be used to portray the evil within a horror film, so it was a shame I was unable to film in low-key lighting. If I was to make another horror film in the future, I would learn how to use colour grading on Premiere Pro. This technique would have allowed me to darken my shots and therefore fit my horror genre, as darkness is often associated with fear.